Lake Havasu Association
For when
of
they
Realtors.
My old sister-in-law is involved in that.
This is where I gain my weight.
Lisa
I've been
Quinn?
gaining
Yeah,
weight.
she's not in, but she's a member of it.
Oh, you're on the board.
I'm
I'm
sure
on
it's
the board.
because stress and candy that sits in
You
front
get
of me.
like free housing and free houses and stuff.
A lot of, all that extra cash that's under the table that they give, yeah.
Goes in a pot.
Get it all off and then
What do they call it?
And it
Grease?
gets on way faster than it falls off.
Grease the
Yeah,
skids.
Yeah,
skids,
greasing your wheels.
Hey, it's like having,
Yeah.
it's not like you're in the Parker
You're
Association.
supposed to
The
speak
par.
stuff like
The
that
Par-
into
well,
existence, right?
Parker is part of this.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Was it Chana? She's the director for La Paz
Is that
County.
right?
Yeah. And I was, about 4 years ago, I was La Paz.
Hospital wanted to sponsor the gala. I'm so happy.
You're buying a table?
I'm sure Mandy's working on it.
Yeah, 4 tables.
See now, when you say black tie, this guy's ready.
He doesn't even wear a tie.
I was telling her, I don't have this suit and stuff. I mean, I
His
do.
tattoo is the tie.
I never wear it.
I know you, Randy. You'll come with a tuxedo shirt on.
Powder blue.
Like that.
Know you
Thought of
too
that.
well.
That's
Know
perfect.
you too well.
Never thought of that.
Wearing a powder blue ruffled shirt.
And just because you're the
Dumb and
member,
Dumber.
Randy will let you in.
Orange with the ruffles?
Last time I had to wear
That's a
my
good
tux.
idea. I like that.
It was the day of, and I'm like, I better
gonna
get it
look
out,
into
make
that.
sure I don't dust it off or something. Took it all out of the bag and everything, and realized I had left my jacket at the dry cleaners in Havasu like 3 months prior, and I just never went and picked it up. It was a panic moment where I had to be with some Havasu, so I called them. I'm like, do you still have a jacket sitting there? And they did.
Really?
Did?
So, yeah, so I was able to
Was
go
it
pay
deluxe?
it.
Was it deluxe cleaner?
I think so, yeah.
That's funny.
Well, you don't have to necessarily wear a tie, Randy, but just dressed up like as if you were going to a
No,
nice
Dumb and
gala.
Dumber, the orange ruffle,
With a
And
top
because
hat.
you're the mayor, I'll let you in.
top hat. Yes, yes.
Matching
Wear a
top.
tie.
I love it.
Gotta wear a tie.
When was the last time
Might
they had
just
the
do that.
gala?
So we're trying to figure that all out for my beginning
yeah.
introduction. We don't know when's the last time it was actually held. We know that it was held for over 10 years, but we're not even sure when it actually started.
I did some between 2005 and 2012. I remember doing them, so,
So that's got to be the last time it was.
yeah.
About 2012.
15 years. All right. It's 6 o'clock, so we're going to call this, oh boy, what's the first thing? The public hearing to order. We have a roll call of council
Mayor Hartless,
here.
Vice Mayor Woodell,
Here.
Councilmember Shantz,
here.
Councilmember Daniels,
Present.
Councilmember De Leon,
Here.
Councilmember Grinwald,
Here.
and Councilmember Jenk.
Present.
All right, purpose of our meeting is discussion. It's a public hearing, so citizen comments on the proposed adoption of ordinance 01/2025, declaring the town of Parker recreational marijuana 2025 updates and the town of Parker marijuana zoning regulations for marijuana establishments. So Nora, you want to open this?
Certainly. So we were able to make the changes that you guys had asked for at our previous meeting. Everything is pretty well spelled out in here as far as being able to read it a lot better. Everything that's been changed is in red. We did change to put the drive-through in. It opened it up for more than one, and also fix that light situation on the inside so that those lights aren't on all the time. And I think that was all the things that you guys had needed to fix. If there's any other questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them. But I do know that we have some folks here that would like to speak tonight.
Sure.
I guess, do we ask questions first before public comment?
Dan?
Yeah, you can.
Over on page 14, just one of the questions that I just wanted to make sure we're okay with. So it's just Monday through Saturday, so excluding Sunday. Didn't know if there was a particular reason for just excluding a particular day. I mean, I'm fine somewhat either way, but just wanted to make a point out that that was one thing that was noted.
There wasn't a specific reason for that.
And just want to hear, other council member thoughts is, should we be excluding a particular day? I don't feel too strongly anyway with it, but more my feelings, just let business do whatever businesses want to do, what they feel has the business with that, but
Oh, so you're saying we put that on?
I'm saying that's what's inside this current proposal in front of us.
Correct, so on page 14B, it did read at one point that it was Monday through Friday. We didn't think that that was, that there should be some weekend at least involved in there, so we added took the Friday out of the Saturday, but if we want to leave it where it's Monday, 7 days a week, there's not an issue with that. However you guys feel
Yeah,
about
most
it.
of the time, but businesses will look at where their revenue is and all that. Sunday's really slow in Parker. They might even shut down already anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that might be their discretion. It's just, I'm not so, not a big point for me, but to me, it's just, again, just letting business conduct business how they want to, instead of us dictating, was just one thought.
Have to.
It just says that not earlier.
So that's just one point maybe to
clear
think on.
9.
The other points, you talked about decreasing the portion, but also on page 14, section C, subsection 1, does still state the 2.5 miles from another establishment location. So that point still looks like it's in there.
Okay, so we want that one,
What line on page 14?
14, section C, subsection 1.
Oh, 1, okay, 2.5 miles up.
Contradicts the point of us opening it up for more than one.
Yeah, so that's just that particular point.
I agree. That's limiting business.
So just to remove that
Remove.
2.5 mile limitation, or any mileage limitation, we're 1 square mile town.
Yeah, I mean, just making sure that we know that that's in there. So what Nora's point previous is that did we want to have a certain amount portion? I think my stance last time was not having that section in there or removing it completely was my.
that we removed that, and then we didn't remove the,
Isn't it true that we could only have 2 in the entire county?
right now.
I was gonna say, isn't there a, yeah.
That's from what, a state?
That's
Portion, but
state
that's-
portion, but, and
Licensing is a part of it. There's places though that have multiple facilities under one license though, right?
correct,
Oh.
How many are in Quartzsite right now?
2.
But theoretically, one of them would come here, is my understanding.
So you guys, I know we're not on voting yet, but I'll just put my bum news out on the table. I think before today, I sat in a very gray area of how I was gonna vote for this. Being a tribal liaison and after talking to some local tribal members and us really trying to build that relationship with them, I will not say that I'm out of that gray area at all, just so you guys are well aware.
Well, and I'm in the same boat. I have spoken to some of our compadres on the tribal council, and they were not on board with this at all. And I know we're in a unique place here in Parker where, there's an ongoing argument about jurisdiction and control and deeded property. And the fact of the matter is, the tribes, according to what I was reading, is that Native American tribes can have dispensaries on their reservations if they so desire. This tribe does not so desire at this point, as far as I can tell. I didn't speak to, I think there's 9 tribal council. I've spoke to 2 of them, but neither one of them expressed an interest, and in fact were very alarmed. And Erica's right. We're in a place right now where we're probably have one of the better relationships we've ever had with our tribal council, and clearly we're working on the sewer situation, and we're trying to. And to me, there's not enough incentive in this for me to want to agree with it. The other thing I did is I spoke with a town manager of a town that has 2 dispensaries. And I said, you know, how's it going? Oh, it's fine. You know, there's no law enforcement issues there. Everything's cool. How about the revenue? And the guy goes, it's really not what you think. He goes, everybody thinks you're getting all this marijuana money, but the truth is a lot of it goes to the state. We get our sales tax. That's it. We get our sales revenue, just like the donut shop. You know, when they sell a dozen donuts, we get some of that revenue. It's the same thing in this situation. So I said, well, if one of your dispensaries left town, you know, he goes, we wouldn't really feel it. It's not that much money, to be honest with you. And he acknowledged that everybody thought it was going to be, and that's kind of the impression that you get, you know, when you have one of these facilities, that you're going to make all this money, and you really don't. And so to me, that's really the only benefit that I see in this is the financial to the town. And then I see a lot of, you know, bad sides to it. And the libertarian person in me, you guys have heard me on planning and zoning things saying people should be able to do what they want with their property, you know. So the libertarian in me thinks, well, you know, it's legal, marijuana's legal. People should be able to get it and access it. But there's that old prevention side of me too, you know, I'm sure that's why Courtney's here. I worked at Pace for, you know, 20 years, and I would be super alarmed if I was still running the, you know, the youth center and Pace about this situation. You know, despite the safety guarantees and all that, you know, you're sending a message. And we used to talk about a thing called perception of harm, right? How badly do kids think something is harmful? And those perceptions have gone down steadily with marijuana over the past few years because of legalization and different things. And it's going to go even further down. If you have a place in town where you can actually buy it, I'm not saying kids are going to go buy it, but the perception is, well, you know, the parents are getting it, the adults are getting it. The other thing too is, and maybe Joanna's here to talk about the school district side of it, but you know, marijuana vaping has become a huge issue at the schools, not just the high school, the junior high, and even the elementary school. It's become a really big issue ever since marijuana was legalized. And I'm not saying we should unlegalize it, but it's that perception of harm, it's that availability, it's that ease in a kid's mind of going, hey, you know, everybody's doing it, you know, it's not a big deal. It's not, you know, it's even less harmful than alcohol, some people would say. And I've kind of feel that way too. But with all that said, I'm really glad you guys didn't make a decision the last time, because I wasn't here and I kind of lost track of what we were doing. I thought we were just discussing it. I didn't realize that could have actually passed at that last meeting. So I'm glad we have this opportunity to give our thoughts, and that's kind of my thoughts on the whole thing, so.
Mayor and council, just as a reminder, so we probably really should either just ask questions or hear from the public, and then you can have your discussion.
Okay.
Right, and I would just say in regards to Crit and the concern over the reservation, this is a public hearing. And that was the point of this. And I don't see a single representative here, so I don't have
Are you
any
the representative?
concern beyond that.
Oh, I thought she was the representative.
Liaison.
Liaison. You're the liaison.
So this is a public hearing. If somebody would like to speak,
Well, I still have more questions about the
Okay.
particular contract
Go
in
ahead.
front of us. So in here, we also have stated, what would that be? Section G, subsection 12 on page 16, that there would be security guards at both the main entrances, so the main entrance and the exit at all times. So that seems a very expensive cost of doing business. Was just wondering if that's standard of business for all other portions.
So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, part of that, the security portion of it falls under Arizona state statute.
Yeah, my preference with that would be security would be following in line with state statute instead of that
No,
particular
and it does.
sections with that. Well, I wouldn't necessarily verbatim state that. My preference would be just changing it to security shall fall in line with laws and regulations of state statute. would be my preference instead of trying to reiterate. So if there is ever changes to state statute, it still has to fall in lines with that particular section. Similarly to subsection 13, where it says that the town manager has the ability to dictate off-hours security. So that portion I did like of us having that in there. Over on page 17, there's subsection 16. It talks about requiring notices verbally to every individual for medical marijuana dispensary, but it seems like that in subsection B, it's also talking about marijuana, just regular recreational dispensing. So it seems to be conflicting. Is it talking about medical at that point, or for both medical and recreational? That there needs to be verbal information given to each individual.
Christina, I'm
So
gonna.
Mayor and Council, it's
Yep.
supposed to be, yeah, the current is just medical marijuana dispensary. 16A is only specific to medical marijuana because it's about a patient.
There you go.
And then 16B, that's really actually a question, I think, for council, if you want it to apply to a marijuana establishment. Again, we try to mirror and make this as close as possible to a dispensary. So I can add in the sort of header of 16 to make sure that it's clear that it applies to both.
Yeah, that's more
If that's
just,
your question.
yeah, that's more, if anything, what I wanted to
Okay.
see, just because right now the header of that just specifically talks about the medical portion, where 16 subsection B is for both.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, I think those were my comments.
Okay, anybody else? And we can discuss too, when the action item comes up, right? So, call to the public of this public hearing. You're welcome to come up, state your name.
All right. Hello, everybody. So normally I would be really just talking openly, but I have a lot of thoughts and opinions, and I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. So I'll do a little bit of reading, but good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Courtney Calm, and I am a resident of Parker residing at 616 South Navajo. I am currently the Executive Director of PACE in the Players 9th Street Youth Center. And although I imagine most in the room are familiar with our organization, since many of you we work closely with and several of you sit on the PACE Coalition, just kind of for record's sake, I would like to cover all bases, and I think it's important to explain that the Parker Area Alliance for Community Empowerment is a nonprofit organization that has provided substance abuse prevention education to youth and our community across the Platte County for over 30 years now. Our mission is to encourage youth to promote a drug-free, violence-free community. PACE works diligently with local organizations, health agencies, and most importantly, our schools, to provide information and education on the dangers of substance use. Our agency understands the importance of informing and educating our community on what harmful decision-making can do, and I hope to demonstrate that a little bit today. So I think it's pretty clear at this point that I'm here to voice my concerns in opposition to the passage of a town ordinance that not only genuinely seems contradictory of the support and dedication of the prevention efforts that we've provided to the town and that the town has supported in the past, but I'm equally concerned genuinely about the passage of an ordinance and what kind of message it gives as permissive attitudes from the leadership of our town to our youth. And although I might stand alone on this side of the issue, I will always stand up and voice my concerns for the safety of youth in our community. I think it's really important to note the major concerns that I have with this ordinance after reading through and watching the minutes from our last meeting. I think that there is a huge community-wide lack of understanding about the negative health effects and potency-specific issues of today's marijuana and what that looks like for our bodies and our health. I think the implication of a marijuana ordinance on the ease of access of marijuana to our youth and young adults and the lower perceived risk of harm and permissive attitudes to substance use is really prevalent in this case. And finally, I know it's been mentioned already, but I genuinely think that the potential of an ordinance would create a divide with the tribal community that we work very closely with organizations like ASAP to educate our community and our youth on the dangers of substance use. So to begin, I think it's really important to make sure that we educate everybody on what marijuana today looks like, because I think there's a lot of common misconceptions. Most of the time when people think of marijuana, and often when we go into the classrooms to talk to our youth, the primary feedback that we get is, well, it's natural. Marijuana today is not nearly as natural as we all hoped and dreamed that it would be. Marijuana used to be at a 1% THC concentration when it first kind of hit the market. Now, a basic bud marijuana that you find at a local dispensary is anywhere between a 20 to 40% THC concentration. Those concentrations steadily go up when you start getting into edibles, wax, and most used items like vapes, where you can find almost a 90% THC concentration in those items. These are all items that are sold at dispensaries that we would allow within this ordinance. I think the dramatic change in potency is bringing a huge negative health effects that we're kind of learning more and more about. As potency has changed in the last several years, we are seeing a lot more evidence of really harmful negative health effects. One of them being an increase to almost doubling of your chances of heart disease. This also includes dramatic impacts to the brain, including the areas that are responsible for our judgment, decision-making, emotional regulation, and control. It's proven to negatively impact IQ and cognitive memory and attention and learning. All of these things are dramatically increased when youth begin to use this substance. I wholeheartedly understand that the intention of bringing something into our community would be to have the sales of those to 21 and older, which are the legal use of recreational marijuana. But the statistics and the data that we have shows that ease of access and low perception of harm is really detrimental to the youth in our community. In fact, as a preventional organization, we actually go to great lengths to study and educate ourselves on factors that lead to increased use of substances. Those mainly are ease of access, which bringing a dispensary directly into our community would increase dramatically, and low perception of harm, which an ordinance passed by our town council urging and considering even more than just one organization to come into our community shows really a permissive attitude, and that can be really detrimental to youth and the community at large. I think it's important for you guys all to know that the average age of first use of marijuana in La Paz County is 12. I think it's also important for you to know that La Paz County ranks the highest in the state in youth-reported ease of access of marijuana. We don't even have a dispensary in our community, and we already have such a perception of risk that is so low and an ease of access that is so high. In fact, our perception is so low that we're only beat in low perception by one county, which is Greenlee. That means our kids will tell you that it's easy to get and that they don't think it harms them enough. And Arizona Youth Survey does surveys for our youth across the county, and it's really clear indication of data that shows a wave of when marijuana was legalized as a medical form in recreation and how high our usage has gone up since then. Although we've seen declines in the last years, I hope in form of organizations like ourselves educating youth and the community at large of the dangers, I still think that there is just not enough information of people educating themselves on the real dramatic effects of this. Marijuana is being linked to high cases of psychosis, of high cases of increased schizophrenia. And I understand that there's a medical component to this. Anytime we talk about that understanding, and everybody has different experiences with those things. Much like prescription medication, how if it's used incorrectly or abused, it can have negative effects. The same thing goes here with marijuana. Our youth are using substances at some of the highest levels in the county. And in fact, marijuana is one of the top 3 substances that our youth are using and admitting to using regularly. In the 8th grade, it's the 3rd most used substance, only behind alcohol and nicotine vapes. In 10th grade, it's the 2nd. And in 12th grade, it's actually the number 1 use, followed directly by marijuana concentrates, which is just marijuana in a vape form. So not only do I fear that a passage of this would increase those areas, our community already doesn't have the infrastructure to treat the substance abuse issues that we're already facing. We have no treatment centers. We are literally the only prevention organization in the entire county. My staff works diligently with the schools, and we start prevention even now at 3rd grade level at Wallace Elementary, because we have students who are coming to school with vapes, with marijuana edibles, and it's an issue that's in our community that we are combating, and that we have a whole coalition that we hope addresses those issues. Obviously, we already talked that I fear the passage of this ordinance would start possible negative relations with the Colorado River Indian tribes. That's something that you guys already spoke of, so I won't continue much longer on that thought process. But I also have some concerns on the conversation that was placed about changing the ordinance that was in place. We are a 1 square mile town. Obviously, with other borders, I think, it's pretty set to, if we only had one in our community, that should do due service. But the fact that we think we should open it up to a potential unlimited number based on the conversation that was had, I happen to know that the county has regulations as well as the state. But the fact that we decided that, I shouldn't say we, the fact that it was discussed that a drive-through could be a valuable option, the fact that within the ordinance it says youth under the age of 18 must be accompanied by adult when the age to buy is 21, so a youth of 18 shouldn't even be in that building. We could have instances where individuals are purchasing substances with their youth in the car if it came to a drive-through. There's just a couple issues that I have with some of those pieces as well, and that the language that invites youth into those establishments. Ultimately, I just feel in this instance that the pros do not outweigh the cons. The message that you're potentially sending to the youth of our community could be genuinely detrimental to the processes of things that we work to try to avoid and make sure that we are keeping our youth safe. But I think it's important that you guys feel educated on those topics. We have a whole hour-long community presentations on potential dangers of marijuana. And of course, we're talking in the use of misuse, abuse, which is very easy to happen when it's in easy access. So our youth are already getting our hands on vapes. That's not legal for them to have. They're already getting their hands on marijuana. We don't even have a dispensary. And alcohol is some of the highest consumed rates in our state, happens in our county. So please take those things into consideration. If you have questions, I would love to make other notes, but I just want to say I appreciate your guys' time and hope that you understand that just because something seems less harmful doesn't mean it's harmless. And just because your intentions might be a positive manner doesn't mean that it might not have catastrophic results. So thank you for your time.
Anyone else in the audience? Citizen comments? Yeah, Joe, go ahead.
I'm Joanna Hermes, and I'm the assistant superintendent, but I'm also the long-term hearing officer. And many of the hearings that come to me are confidential, so you might not know them, but we do have a problem with alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana in our schools. When a student makes a poor choice, and as you know, their brains aren't developed yet, so unfortunately they do that. Typically, it also affects their education as well. And I know we all have the goal of making sure that our students are graduating and making positive choices. So I just want to let you know that we do have those issues in our school, and unfortunately, I do see those students when they come to me for a hearing. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else want to make a comment in this public meeting? Okay, hearing none. Anybody else, council, any questions? We can also make statements at the actual action item, so. Hearing none, I'll adjourn this public hearing and call our next public hearing to order with roll call of council.
Mayor Hartless.
Here.
Vice Mayor Waddell.
Here.
Councilmember Shantz. Here. Councilmember Daniels.
Present.
Councilmember De Leon. Here. Councilmember Grinwald.
Here.
Councilmember Jenk.
Okay, our next item is Also a discussion item for fiscal year 25-26 budget. Nora?
So with that, this is the official budget. We just transferred everything over from the temporary to now. We did do the one change for the 800,000. Other than that, it's been published
Can I
and
clarify that? 800,000?
Dennis had made that error
In one of the grants.
in one of the grants.
Okay.
We didn't add that particular grant on, so it did get put in there so that we can, if we get the grant,
Yeah.
we can actually use it. 8 million, sorry,
8 million.
sorry.
Took a millionaire like Steve to realize that mistake, right?
His budget.
All right. Open it for discussion. You must have done a good job covering it. Citizen comments, anybody want to make a comment?
I think you should give more money to the library.
Noted. Okay. Well, that is too easy. No comments, anybody, council?
Did we end up tabling what we thought for, like, giving the town employees some type of incentive or merit plan, or did we not talk about that? Am I going crazy?
About Christmas bonuses or something, I thought.
Is that in here?
It's in there,
Okay.
if we can do that.
So it's in there.
Yeah, I think we had like, what, that 250,000
Yes.
Yes.
reserve portion, so that's where I think we left off comfortable at that particular point.
Ma'am.
Okay. Okay, any more questions, discussion? No citizen comments? Thank you. So we will adjourn the public hearing and call the special meeting to order with the roll call of council.
Our favorite time of year. Mayor Hartless.
Still here.
Vice Mayor Waddell.
Here.
Councilmember Shantz.
Here.
Councilmember Daniels.
Present.
Councilmember De Leon. Councilmember Grimwald.
Here.
And Councilmember Jenk.
Okay, this special meeting is discussion and action to approve, deny Resolution 09-2025, adopting the Town of Parker final budget for fiscal year 25-26. Nora? Any changes?
No
Since
changes.
5 minutes ago when we discussed, no? Okay.
No changes.
Okay, I would open this to council for discussion. Questions, comments, anything?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the Resolution 09-2025, adopting the Town of Parker final budget for fiscal year 25-26. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We will adjourn this special meeting and call the regular meeting to order with the roll call of council.
Mayor Hartless.
Here.
Vice Mayor Waddell.
Here.
Councilmember Shantz.
Here.
Councilmember Daniels.
Present.
Councilmember De Leon. Councilmember Grimwald.
Here.
Councilmember Jenk.
Present.
All right, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation from Bree McCray from the River, Christ Church on the River. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and I thank you for the mayor, the vice mayor, and the council members, and all the staff that work diligently to make Parker a wonderful place to live in. I pray for their wisdom and your guidance as they go about making decisions that affect the town and the surrounding areas. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Okay, call to the public. Do we have any call to the public requests? No? Okay, our next item is Chamber Director's Report. Erica Daniels, Chamber Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have been very busy over at the Chamber, and we actually found a new temporary location, if that makes any sense at all. We have not found our permanent home, but we are moving back onto the main drag. We will be inside the Parker Center, better known by China Garden. 1016 Hopi, so come grab lunch and visit us. Doors will open on August 1st. We're very excited about that, and hopefully we can get more tourist attraction going back to the main drag. This week, actually tomorrow, we will leave for the Arizona Governor's Conference on Tourism. So the chamber offices will be closed this Friday, as we will all be at the conference. We are very excited to announce that the 2025 Chamber Gala is back. It took a long hiatus. We're not even sure when. Mayor thinks maybe 2015-ish, 2012, but we are back.
2012.
Yes, around then. We are giving out 7 different awards this year, and we already have a lot of impressive nominees. So if you are a chamber member, please, if you get that email, vote so that your voice can be heard. If you are a chamber member and you have not got that email, please reach out to me so I can send you the link so that you can vote. On Monday, we will be having our new teacher orientation. I invited all of council to be there. If you guys can, you are all welcome at 8 a.m. at Elks. And that's it for the chamber.
Oh, question.
Yes.
At the Parker Center, are you guys putting a sign up?
So yes, they were so kind to give us the entire Kokopelli.
Oh, nice.
So it should be attracting a lot of the tourists.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Seems like a good spot.
Yeah, temporarily. All right, our next item is the consent agenda with one item, Town of Parker meeting minutes from July 1st, 2025. We have a motion.
Move to approve?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from July 1st, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 1, we want to table that till August 5th. That's our next meeting, right?
Yes, please.
Not quite ready for this?
Quite.
Okay. And then if we can, I wanted to switch 2 and 3 around because I think Marion requested it because she might not have a great connection, so she wants to make sure she hears an update on item 3. Is that okay with everybody to move 3? Okay. All right, item 3 is discussion regarding the Town of Parker wastewater system, water system backflow, and building moratorium. Nora?
So, last meeting, we were just, it was asked that we kind of give an update on what's going on with our wastewater plant. I do have Ashley here, she's Longnecker, she is managing that for us. And then the office staff is here as well to help answer any questions that you guys may have. Where we stand right now, Christina and I had a discussion yesterday with WIFA. As you know, we were approved for $5 million at a 60-40% ratio. What we've been waiting on is a lease from the tribe. Our lease with them, I shouldn't say our lease, joint ventures lease has 13 years left on there. We've been privileged to have several meetings with tribal council. And where we stand with that is they are working on a agreement between the town and the tribe to update what we had, because the one we have is very, very old and doesn't make any sense at all anymore, which I think is actually more important than the actual lease, because that's going to tell us that agreement on how we move forward with the tribe and with joint venture. WIFA was good with that. They have also looked at some other financing instead of the 30-year lease or 30-year contract that we had. They've kind of done some refiguring and based it on a 10-year loan, and then back-ending the principal of the thing so we don't have that huge balloon payment at the end of 10 years. So they're really working with us to be able to continue to get that, which very grateful for. John, our grant writer, and myself and Michael Dean from USDA have a call on Thursday to see where they can sort of help us in some of the financing. I know that talking with Mimi from the tribe, they are also, she's their grant writer. They're also talking to USDA. I believe Joint Venture is also talking to USDA, and we may be able to do this as a group effort versus each individual entity, which is great. We still have not heard anything on our congressional grant. We were hoping that they would, when we met with our congressmen's, that they would be asking us 9 million questions in the next day or so that we could move forward with that. It hasn't happened. Not to say that it won't happen tomorrow.
I just think there's a lot of uncertainty in Washington DC right now.
Absolutely.
Or as funding of any organization.
We had applied for $1 million with the Southwest Border Regional Council. That was denied. CRIT had also applied for that, and they were denied as well. Not exactly sure why all that kind of went down. The only really thing that has kind of come up in the last couple of 3 weeks is on June 24th, Joint Venture was presented with a letter from the EPA. It was a notice of opportunity to resolve Clean Water Act violations. They have had quite a few violations over the last several years. I think pretty much they've gotten them all corrected at this point. Ashley can definitely speak to that here in just a little bit. She was able to answer all of the questions that they had. The only thing that they're really kind of hanging on to with us right now is they would like to meet with the 7 of you, along with the 9 tribal council members and Joint Venture. So I'm gonna really try in the next week or so to make that happen. It's very important. With these 6 violations that we've had with Joint Venture, they're not out there trying to fine us or punish us or anything negative, but they really want to work with us and help us get what we need to get this back online in an appropriate way. So the best thing that we can do is try to make that happen and use their input and their help. I think that's kind of where we stand right now. I did ask the ladies to come tonight and if you had questions for them regarding the plant or regarding this letter that we received or anything that they might be able to answer for you. Because wastewater is not my forte. Let's just put that out there.
I think it's anybody, but it's Ashley's.
I was gonna say, we do have an expert in the room.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good update, I think. So EPA there, that letter, there is no outstanding fines or anything?
No,
Okay.
not at this point.
Do you have any updates, Ashley, that maybe she didn't hit or?
May I speak on that?
Yeah.
As far as the EPA letter goes, there is, it's pretty much out of compliance. It's notifications of being out of compliance. There are plenty of violations in this letter, but within those violations, they have all been corrected. What we do is we notify them within the time frame that they allow us to notify. What we do is we tell them what our action was to to get back into compliance. The only thing that is not in compliance, that is still standing out of compliance, is the selenium. And I did have correspondence with them about 3 years ago. We did sampling at all of our wet wells for our lift stations, trying to identify where those large volumes of selenium is coming from, and that is still an issue. Based on that, I will say that the new treatment plant that we intend on putting in will correct that issue. We actually sent them a selenium sample from our treatment facility now, and they ran it through their tests, and it came back non-detect. So with that being said, that will help us in the long run to be able to meet those parameters within our permit.
Questions, anybody?
Yeah, is there any plan for any short-term options to be in place so that we can lift the moratorium?
Short answer is no. Right now, I think that as far as we're struggling to get funding as a whole, we cannot afford to be able to put in a temporary treatment plant in order to lift the moratorium. Right now, we are on a moratorium and at half capacity because it's monitoring our water line. And at the water line, if we don't know, I know most of you guys have taken a plant tour, there's corrosion at the water line. So right now, we are maintaining our water line that is corroded with the moratorium and what we have coming in for the plant as far as volume and flow.
So right now, probably no anticipated lift of the moratorium until we get a contract or lease agreement in place, a contract overall with probably tribes for a new joint venture, and then build out the new moratorium 2+ years. So we're still looking probably 3, 4, 5 years down the road before we can build again in Parker.
I wouldn't say we're out that far. If, again, we do get the funding, we're a 12-month build. So we can get this process started as soon as we get the funding. Also, it is a phased project. So if we apply this first $5 million, we can get certain aspects of the plant already put in place. So it actually shortens the time that it would take to put the plant online based on our funding opportunities.
So I think what we heard previously was 18-month build for the total portion. Now you're saying it's only a 12-month and then potentially even shorter.
It's potentially 12 to 18 months, yes.
Yeah. So the engineers were actually at our last meeting, and they came out and they state with the $20.5 million plant that it would take 12 months for them to be operational. Basically, they would do all the prepping and everything, and then bring the tanks in, the brand new tanks, and we'd be operational possibly in 12 months. So.
And really, the town is the one that holds the moratorium. It's not joint venture.
No, joint venture does.
Joint venture holds one too.
We do.
No, I thought we hold one?
Ours is different than joint ventures.
I thought we were just basing it on.
We are we based ours off of theirs,
Off
but
of
yes,
theirs.
we
Okay.
do have.
They're two separate ones. Because we did ours to where we could lift it at any time.
Correct.
Right. And is your guys' set for a certain length of period, like a period not a pay period? want a
I
pay
think
period,
it's
but-
based off of the treatment facility and its condition. So when that is corrected, then that's when the moratorium would be lifted.
I also want to kind of thank Ashley and Sarah for being here. This was something that was brought up in our joint meeting with the tribes, kind of to keep everybody up to date what's going on and everything. So I thank you guys for coming today and truly appreciate it. We're working in the joint venture meetings and trying to get this corrected as quick as possible.
Absolutely, and just applaud you for your work. I couldn't imagine your stress level, and I don't wish that upon anybody.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
The current water level that you're maintaining, you guys don't foresee any problems with maintaining that for the next potentially several years, or?
There has been issues with the couple of monsoon storms that we have had roll through here.
Right, I was kind of wondering about
I
that.
have opened the headworks gate to drain into our lagoons that are there, to kind of take that pressure off of the tanks. What happens when it short circuits the treatment process. So when there's a large volume of water that it's not anticipating, it'll actually short circuit the process of it being treated fully and to the greatest potential of producing the best effluent that it could. So what I did is I opened that gate to kind of help the volume of flow and allow the treatment process to keep maintaining the
That ratio.
yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
It also on the tanks, you could definitely see that the water level rose, and that's not something that we want to question, especially if we're not at the facility when it's happening. So we're trying to protect that the best we can.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
Sarah, thank you.
Uh,
All right.
I mean, eventually, if there's no more questions with that, I would like to call executive session for contract negotiations purposes, just so that we can have that quick discussion about any future contract or contract negotiations. So I'll make
All
that
right,
motion.
You're asking, oh, sorry. Oh, okay, well, it's to say mayor and council, and I'm sorry, for some reason I can't get my video to work. But, so it's not agendized as A4, which is what you're talking about, negotiations. And that's partly because we don't have an active contract for us to review or to discuss. And the executive session provisions are pretty narrow. So the only thing we could do in executive session is legal advice. But again, that's just, I need to be advising you on something. So if you want to make a motion to go in for legal advice, that's fine, but it can't be specific to a contract because we don't have a contract.
So we can't give direction for a contract, so all direction for a contract when we're creating a contract has to be already built?
No, I think we can, but it has to be on the agenda as a discussion,
Well, I mean,
action.
that is a question.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could ask for that next time for that contract negotiation so that we can have that specific discussion.
Well, I guess I would probably need some clarity of are you talking about the contract like joint venture? Or are you, is that what you're asking about?
Yes, the future contract negotiations that we have for the continuance of the workings between the two entities for joint venture.
Okay, sure. So we can go ahead and agendize then, yes, for next time if you want to discuss. I guess I would say it's probably the current contract and whether it's amendments or a new contract. And then we can do A3 and A4. So, okay.
Same time, we could discuss the moratorium. I mean, I don't see any
I won't be here
changes
at
to
the
that,
next
but-
one, but I'll share my thoughts via email.
So that's for the August, what's the date on?
August 4th.
August 4th? No, 5th,
Oh, there's a typo. August 5th.
August 5th, Tuesday.
I wrote the 6th down earlier.
That's okay.
Got the time right. All right. Anything else on this discussion item?
I won't be here that day.
Okay. Item 3 is discussion and action to approve, deny ordinance 01-2025, declaring the town of Parker recreational marijuana 2025 updates and the town of Parker marijuana zoning regulations for marijuana establishments. Nora?
So I guess my question would be, if we want to do the changes that were presented in the open meeting, or how we want to do those, and those were on page 12. No, I just told you a story. It's on page 14, C1, the 2.5 miles. If we want to remove that. If we want to change the B to just be open to whenever they want to be open, or if we want to keep the Saturday involved in there. And then the wording to on page 16 to fall just ARS statute. Open for questions or comments?
So those changes you're saying will be part of the motion?
If we approve it.
If
Right.
you approve it, yes.
Okay.
They will need to be.
I think whoever makes a motion would have to say,
If
If approved with the.
okay,
if you guys want them changed, you may not want them changed, you may want those to
Okay.
stay in. Those were just
And then also
suggestions
the
that,
technical change, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, I'm
in
sorry.
number 16, yes, yeah.
the subsection about medical marijuana?
Yeah,
16,
basically it's
yeah,
talking
that-
about both. So that's just where wanted just
To
clarification
apply
a
to
little bit.
both.
correct.
So so whenever those does come, I think whoever does make the motion can make the motion with those particular portions if they want it. Now, to address the other concerns of what I heard slightly from different portions, is one of the concerns I heard was overall with CRIT might have a different stance, or at least individual members might have different stances. And I think that's fine, where they can dictate what their rules and regulations are within their particular limits. And all that we can do is dictate what our rules and regulations are, where if they have a particular thing, then they could be very specific in what they want to pass for their portion. But what we can control is what we put in place in front of inside our ordinances. So that's where I understand that there might be that hesitancy, and that's fine if they want to actually make it their portion and dictate it inside their rules and regulations and what's allowed. So, but what we do is what I think where we feel the best direction without necessarily following on the other outside influence with that. I also heard other concerns about just not wanting this because it's potential substance of abuse with that, which I heard earlier. Randy, you were talking about how you felt potentially alcohol or tobacco were potentially even more harmful than these substances, which you have to agree. And what I would say to that is, if we want to, then we should be consistent and ban all alcohol sales within the county if we want to ban this, and all tobacco sales in the county with that. So what we should be doing is being consistent and not discriminatory against a particular thing that Arizona law says that it's legal. So if we want to ban one particular substance, I do agree that we should go across the board. But without that, we should also open up if that's also the direction from that.
I share that thought as well. I have a couple of sentiments I would like to say, but I'm probably going to mess them all up, and I'm sure they're not going to be very popular. But I know ease of access came up a lot during these discussions. And then, we received some information that said that this county is the highest in terms of teens and in their ease of access to it. That's kind of contradictory to me. If a dispensary is going to affect ease of access, I mean, you would think that there would be something to affect. It's already the highest. And I kind of feel like it's sending a message that will just leave it up to the unregulated sales that are already going on, which apparently statistics exist on that. Illegal sales inside of homes, which it's already going on. You can pretend like it's not, but it is. That's why these kids are showing up at school with it or whatever. And then there's the other fact that home cultivation is still legal in Arizona. So even without a dispensary, ease of access is still there. You can grow in your house. It's legal. You can have like 12 plants in a house. So I don't think a dispensary necessarily has any effect on ease of access. It's always been here. You plant a seed and it grows. That's how easy it is to access. And he kind of touched on some of the health effects. If we're going to mention health effects, we do need to talk about alcohol and cigarettes. If we're going to allow tobacco and liquor stores in here, I personally view those as significantly more harmful And I do think that statistics currently support that cannabis use amongst teens is down over the last decade. And that's backed up by the CDC and various other things that you can look up. I want to say back in like 2013, there was like 27% of high school aged teens used marijuana, and now they're saying it's something like 15%. And I think that's because of the ease of access. It's not this taboo thing where you do it because you couldn't get a hold of it or it was what your parents warned you about. Now it's kind of like alcohol. Apparently drinking is down statistically amongst teens too. But that's all stuff that you guys should probably look into. I don't know, I just think, what kind of message are we sending? You can't beat around the bush. I mean, it's here, the state, it's legal on a state level. Adults are gonna go and they're gonna get it regardless of whether or not it's in Parker. So I think if we wanna look at it from a substance abuse issue, which I'm completely sympathetic about, we need to be realistic about it and address it. How would you address substance abuse if there was a dispensary? How would that impact the community, or would it impact the community, since apparently it's already here at the highest level in the state? I don't know. These are all things, though, that I think about, and it's easy to get hung up on some of the downsides, but it really feels like going back in time to me.
I'll say I still sit in the gray area. Surprise, surprise. I know I do see pros in it. I do see cons in it. I respect everybody's opinions, and I love that's why there's so many of us here, so that we can make this vote. A comment was made about outside influence, which I completely understand, but I do want to go on record and say that most of my voting, if not 99% of it, 100% of it, is not outside influence, but I love to get the community's voice, and that's why I ran and am in part of council, so that I feel that they have a voice and that we're voting for the best interest of the entire community, not just my own opinion. Again, because my own opinion right now sits in a very gray area. What you could say could possibly persuade me this way, what somebody else could say could persuade me another way, but with talking to so many people, I do hear them, I do understand them, I want them to know that it was understood. And I also want them to know that we are a community as a whole. So yes, there is the town of Parker and there is the Colorado River Indian Tribes Reservation, but in my eyes, we are one community as a whole, and I want the best interest of the community. So just so that's on record.
I kind of hit with Erica on that too. It's a gray area for me. Personally, I'm going back and forth between this, but in reality, I look at the future. What's going to happen, and you brought up a great point, Courtney, is that the difference between what used to be marijuana and to what is now has dramatically changed. Vaping is huge. I've sat down with the school board before, sat down with the superintendent, and there's a reason why every school has vaping monitors everywhere. And they're not being busted just for whatever's the nicotine or anything. They're being busted for everything. So I think it is a large issue that we're dealing with within the schools. And I fully believe what Dusty says too, alcohol and tobacco are other huge issues. For me, I just don't believe that. At first we started with saying one, and now we're saying we're gonna allow multiple, and I don't believe that this community deserves, more than one if we do decide to go that way. It's just, you're bringing in the availability of another substance. And I believe we're already surrounded by many liquor stores, and that is a huge issue. So I'm in the gray area right now too, so.
What about the sewer question? Unless they buy an existing business that already has a connection?
That is correct.
Because clearly they wouldn't be able to build a new.
No.
Oh, okay. And that doesn't have to be part of this, but as long as they understand that, if this is approved, that there's no new hookups, right?
Correct.
Well, and I believe too, if you look at the lots we do have available, the behind Spanky's and River Island, within our ordinances, it says within a public park. You have to be, so they wouldn't be allowed to be there. 500 feet.
There's a lot of restrictions in it already.
Mm-hmm.
And who's to say that the ordinance goes in place, that they may look at it from a business standpoint and go, Parker's not a viable location for us, and then they just move on and go somewhere else.
That's where I sit in the gray area, because as a business standpoint, if we were to welcome them, I would hope that they would become chamber members, so I sit in a very gray area.
Yeah, and you're talking about the number of facilities, and I don't necessarily think that we're going to be large enough to support multiple overall with that, but it's just more, I'm not in favor of limited businesses or encouraging a monopoly from a singular business within an area.
Right, I saw your argument as more of that, preventing kind of the monopoly, one person coming in and kind of dictating
Who's got the
that
deeper
business, you know what I
pockets.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's more, not that I feel that we necessarily need multiple, it's just a prevention of a monopoly, and then whoever gets the license first has the ability to dictate and really be that for the future instead of a better establishment coming in. So that's more that standpoint.
I mean, I look at it from when, my background being in law enforcement, we have so many laws on the books. Courtney, you did a great presentation, I appreciate the information.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then I see so many laws on the books, yet we still have the highest rate of use and exposure. So I don't know the answer. I mean, I wish I had a magic wand and just go boom, okay, it's illegal, you can't do any of that. But, you know, I don't know if this is gonna prevent any of that if it is passed. And we do put it forward and put it on it. At least we have a ordinance in place that can manage and dictate that. So that's what I'm looking at it. That's the standpoint I'm coming from.
And that's where I kind of sit in the gray area too when it comes to the law and jurisdiction and things of that sort. If they went to the marijuana establishment and bought something, and then they're a resident of the town of Parker, but they live on 19th Street and they so happen to live on a lot that is a tribal land, as soon as they cross over to that tribal land, they're breaking the law, right? Am I correct?
It'd be no different than right now, though.
Yeah, no, totally get that, yeah,
I mean,
but.
whether they're going to Havasu or Needles or
And
to
they are. I
Portside or
completely agree with you.
Blythe, you know, they're still coming back to Parker with it. They're still going across the
And
reservation
I've
with
seen
it.
plenty of people,
Yeah.
seen plenty of examples of that.
Right.
I know they're coming right back in. I've seen where they're purchasing it.
Yeah, Parker's not a sanctuary. You know,
No.
there's, we all know the substance abuse issues are epidemic here. I mean, it's a reservation. It's like that across the country. It's a much bigger picture than I think this ordinance is, though. I actually see a lot of benefit behind marijuana. I know there's a lot of stigma that's been kind of fed to the public over the years about it. I personally don't share those feelings about it. I think it's very beneficial. I think it opens up a lot of good business opportunities for this community. We're a tourist community, probably one of the only ones I could think of at this day and age that doesn't have a dispensary. We're also severely lacking in sales tax revenue. Yeah. I'm obviously for having one here. And I'm against the illegal sales of it. I mean, if you're looking at it from a law enforcement standpoint right now, we're saying that we're fine with people continuing to buy it and travel with it the way that they currently are, which is walking into people's houses and doing drug deals. I mean, and you're exposed to a lot more danger and crime and other substances when you're in that kind of environment versus when you're inside of a state-regulated dispensary. You know, that's a pretty safe experience through and through. Alternatively, you know, you go down on First Ave and come back with whatever you need, hopefully. I mean, I don't know.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope it's safe.
That's what we're saying we're cool with. That's kind of, or that, or we're saying that that's not happening. That's currently what's not going on. which I'm not gonna say that.
The other point that I do think should be changed in here, if we do move forward with it, is going to be that 18 and over, to Courtney's point, it should be 21. No one younger than 21 should be entering in the premise without a individual who's 21 and over. And I even had questions about why is any minors in there, but that was another questionable point.
I'm sorry, can you repeat? You said you don't want anyone under 21?
Under 21, yeah. Currently, it states in there that 18 and younger.
Yeah, nothing that
Nobody
contradicts.
younger than 18 must be accompanied by somebody 18 over. I was trying to find the section in there. I couldn't find it fast enough. But it's in there somewhere. So
Okay,
just,
let me just check that that's not a statutory requirement.
well, I'm increasing. I'm making it more stringent
Oh, okay.
instead of less stringent with that particular case.
Do we know what kind of revenue this brought, like, say, Quartzsite when they opened theirs, by any chance? No.
No, I don't have the number, I don't have numbers. It's on page 17, 19.
The age thing.
The age thing.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Well, and one thing I will say, if it's simply sales tax, then if they're gonna buy an existing business, then that business is probably generating, and maybe not, but you see what I'm saying? They're generating sales tax too, so.
We have plenty of very empty business.
Yeah, there's a couple empty locations, several.
But there's not very many that fit into this mold of distance away from places, because we're 1 square mile.
There's, what was it, 500 feet?
Some
I mean, I can think
250,
of
some
2
500.
places, yeah. I think one location. 3. Yeah, there's several. But they'll look at it too, the businesses, they'll look at it and they have, it's all regular, regulatory, and they'll go, nope, 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 yep, Matt, and they just highlight all the different places that are available. And then it's up to that landowner or that person or that individual to go, I don't agree with what's gonna go in there, so I'm not gonna lease it out, or I won't sell it to you. Some will say yes, some will say no, but that's a good old American way. Libertarian way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do we already have a marijuana establishment that's interested in coming to Parker?
Yes.
Did they already identify different locations, or
I'm not aware of that.
you're not aware?
I don't know if they,
No, they'll just have to follow.
So we were talking about each requirements.
I think Dusty's point is worth reiterating, is that with what was stated earlier, that we have one of the most perceived ease of access for any county anywhere, and we don't have a dispensary whatsoever. And those are all going to be with unregulated sales and unregulated products with any of those of what that perceived ease of access is. This one is at least going to have to be regulated through the state and through different state organizations that have to follow strict guidelines compared to the unregulated sales of this particular product. People have the ease of access and availability right now, and right now we're just saying that we want a legitimate business to potentially come in here instead of trying to work with unlegitimate sales of this particular product.
Christina, if we went to vote, could I abstain, being that there would still be a quorum?
Why would you abstain?
Let me check just to see. I can't recall off the top of my head whether an abstention moves to the majority vote. So let me just check. But I also wanted to say that the statute, so for medical marijuana, you can get a medical marijuana card at 18.
You can or you can't?
you can.
You can. So I can't lift, we can't increase it to 21 for medical. I'm trying to check on the recreational.
Okay. Well, if that is what's in place, I would.
What page was, or where was the section that you referred to about discrepancy between medical marijuana and recreation?
Oh, that was also page 17, section 16.
16.
If you guys don't mind, I have a comment I'd like to say.
Okay, it looks like the recreational, it refers more to the 21. So medical marijuana at 18, you can get a medical marijuana card. But the recreational marijuana, we could put it in place, the 21 and under.
Yeah, my phrasing my recommended phrasing would be nobody allowed in there under the age of 21 unless they have a medical marijuana card.
Okay.
Can I go for it? Well, they can hear me. So coming from a kid that the first time she tried marijuana was 12, we weren't getting it from neighbors, back alleys, that kind of thing. When you're vaping, when you're getting wax, when you're doing edibles, you're getting them from your older cousin, your friend, your aunt, your uncle that are getting it at these legitimate places. So Courtney's point with that ease of access increasing is 100% real.
And my
Because
point
you're not
is
getting
that
it
that's
from-
already legal. They can't furnish that.
Right, but if we're making that closer to them, the people that are giving it to these kids already have more access to it. Because the ones that don't care about the law, that are going out there and supplying it to the kids that shouldn't be having it, are not the ones that are easily driving to Havasu or driving to Blythe. It's a chore for that to happen. So if they can walk down the street and get it, it's going to increase even more.
I don't know though, because nationally, statistics are showing that even though dispensaries are increasing, that usage amongst high school age teens has dropped. I mean, depending on what source you look at, it's up to 10% over the last decade. And that's the crucial point during this whole marijuana legalization timeframe.
I think my concern is that nationally, that is probably true. But like to Courtney's point, with our community, that's not the case. It's increasing, and the alcohol use, yeah, it's going down because everything else is going up. It's just way too easy to access, and I don't think we should be making it easier.
Thanks, Megan. This is not a public hearing at this point. I wish you would have said that during the public hearing, but I'm gonna have to cut you off. Sorry. All right. Are we waiting for something from Christina?
Yeah, so I didn't see anything in your code about abstentions, and so we just fall back on the Roberts rules, since that's what you follow. Essentially, if you have the majority to pass, then the abstention won't be counted in that calculation. So essentially, if you have a tie, it's going to be a problem, but
So with that regard, I will make a motion to pass this code with the suggested changes I recommended.
That'd be to the age requirements, to the mileage restriction being removed, and then the medical marijuana being accompanied exiting the building.
Mileage restriction?
2.5 miles
2.5
for
miles.
another establishment. And then
Oh.
also removing the section of saying just Monday through Saturday, allowing it to go through Monday through Sunday.
7 days.
Was that a second?
I second.
Mayor, can I ask for roll call votes or?
Sure. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion of the council? Okay, roll call vote. All those in favor,
Roll call.
raise your hand so we can identify.
Is Marianne raising her hand, or is she on here?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Aye. Nay, I guess.
The ayes have it.
All right, motion carries. Our next item is liaison reports with possible topics. Anybody have any liaison report?
The chamber one,
Oh.
but you already did it.
Oh, okay.
Parks and Rec is having the Back to School Bash on Sunday, July 27th. I want to thank IDA for all that they have done for Parks and Rec. They helped us with our summer program and are also helping with the Parks and Recreation program, or for Back to School Bash. Very excited about that. We've got a lot of questions about physicals and haircuts this year. Unfortunately, we're not going to do that just because last year was such a big crowd inside, but we really want to keep it inside because of the heat. So hope to see you guys there at that Back to School Bash. And other than that, that's it for Parks and Rec.
And senior, they're gonna be going dark, I guess.
Yeah,
with
they're
the heat,
done for
so
the
it's,
summer, right?
yeah.
Okay. All right, announcements, Sunday, back to school bash, like Erica said, the 27th, and our next meeting, Tuesday, August 5th at 6 PM. Meeting's adjourned.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Christina.
Oh, I shouldn't even eat those.